Bob Dylan, the Pixies, Steve Earle. These folk don't need the money or the fame, but this Christmas their songs have been cropping up in unlikely places, in ad breaks during Downton Abbey and Coronation Street. Eyebrows were raised when John Lewis's festive campaign used a cover of a Smiths song. It's an area that intrigues our guest editor this morning, Stewart Lee. He wonders whether attitudes might have changed now towards letting your music be used in TV adverts. Our arts correspondent, Colin Patterson, reports.
Good times for a change.
Sell out. That used to be the cry if a band let one of their songs be used on a TV advert. But this Christmas, a Smiths B-side from 1984 can be heard almost every commercial break.
Let me get what I want this time.
A cover of Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want by Slow Moving Millie soundtracks John Lewis's Christmas ad. So if a band as ideologically heavy as the Smiths are now selling socks, is it okay for everyone? To discuss this, I went to visit the Smiths drummer Mike Joyce. We started off by watching the full-length version of the ad online.
Here we are in Mike Joyce's living room.
And if I just press that, we should just be able to get the... It's the full ad. 3,681,924 hits. Well, it was 923 about 30 seconds ago. I've not actually seen it.
This is the first time you've watched it?
First time I've seen it, yeah. Well, I know the song, I know how it goes. I'm not really interested in the ad, I'm more interested in the music. But I've not seen it. I've seen the abridged version that's on the TV.
What do you make of the song?
Yeah, do you know what I want to do? That. That's about it, really. I mean, the song sounds fine. I'm just bored of it, really. It's I prefer the original, obviously. I mean, I got 30 seconds in. That's pretty good going, isn't it?
Happy Christmas, Morrissey and Marr.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, they wrote the song, and the song is a brilliant song to write, and they deserve every penny for writing such a fantastic song.
Were you surprised, though, that Morrissey and Marr had agreed to it? Because they still have the publishing rights, so they did have to give permission.
Well, no, not really. To get your songs heard is one of the most important things for any songwriter. I think, obviously, it's not for Bernard Matthews. I mean, how much did they get paid? I'm sure they got paid quite a substantial amount of money.
Wake up in the morning, there's a snap around the place. Wake up in the morning, there's a crackle in your face.
Music in ads is not a new phenomenon. In 1964, Brian Jones wrote a new track for a Rolling Stones Rice Krispies commercial.
Hear them talking, Chris. Rice Krispies!
Chas de Whalley is an expert in the field, writing a column on the subject for both Music Week and Record Collector, and running the AdBreakAnthems blog. He says a decline in record sales is changing how acts feel about letting their music be used in ads, although they were never that shy in the first place.
Musicians have always sort of tried to present themselves as being people of artistic integrity, but ultimately, like all the rest of us, they like money, and this is one of the major revenue streams in the music industry now. Sync licenses, TV adverts, and it is often one of the factors which will persuade today's musician which record company or which publishing company he signs with.
Chas also believes ads can do music fans a big favour.
I have a question to ask you.
One of the things I take out of it is how wonderful it is to hear some really obscure material, some old R&B hits that I wouldn't have heard otherwise. I mean, there was a 2007 Alfa Romeo used a bit of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was a really important and seminal gospel and early rock and roll artist, and there it is on the television in prime time in front of an audience who would never ever probably have heard of her before and might just go, "Cool, what's that? Let me check it out."
I want somebody to tell me just what is the soul of man.
Mikachu and the Shapes are one act who had to decide whether or not to let their music be used in commercials. Their debut album, Jewelry, was loved by critics, but completely missed the charts. It didn't bypass advertising agencies, though, who came calling.
We've actually said no to quite a few because it's a bit of a game to play, I think. I believe there's a game to play with it. And I'm not black and white on my opinion on it. I think you have to take it case by case a bit. For instance, we have this song which often adverts want to use. It's quite twee. It's actually called Golden Phone. So lots of phone companies and that kind of thing. That song is actually about suicide. You know, you've got to be careful not to just sell yourself out. We did one advert in the States for Crayola. I didn't really feel like it was anything negative. It was art products. Everyone hears and sees music on adverts, and it's almost not become an issue like it used to be. 1, 2, 3, 4!
In 1967, The Who made fun of the whole subject with their album The Who Sell Out.
What's for tea, ma'am?
Between the tracks were fake ads. Andy Heath is the boss of both UK Music and the Beggars Group, home of Adele. He thinks acts do have to choose wisely.
It's still very possible to be accused of selling out, because if you are at the wrong place and the wrong tune is used in the wrong ad, your fans will accuse you of selling out, and it's something you have to be very, very careful of. They would much rather keep their fans and have a couple of $1,000.
But it's hard for any new act to say no when Steve Earle sells cider.
I took a stroll on the old long walk.
Nick Drake accompanies cough syrup.
Day one storm.
And Bob Dylan's doing lingerie ads.
I'm sick of love.
A final word from Mike Joyce.
That's the dilemma, isn't it? I think that's the fundamental issue that we've got here, is the song that was written at the time invariably has absolutely no bearing whatsoever to the advert that it's promoting. I do have a problem with that, but not to the extent where if John Lewis would have contacted me and said, look, Mike, Johnny and Morrissey have confirmed that they'd be happy to use this record. All we need is just your okay on this, and then we can go ahead and run the ad. And they said to me, and we're going to give you £1,000. I'd probably say, go on then. That's just the way it is. I could sit here and say, it's awful, it's terrible, the song wasn't meant to be about that originally, it's been bastardised. Johnny and Morrissey certainly don't feel like that. You know, as the pop group said, we're all prostitutes. It depends on to what extent we're prepared to go.
Colin Patterson reporting there. The time now, 18 minutes past 8.